Hi, I'm Jon Fromm, and this is my game, Emergency Dispatch. It's an easy-to-learn cooperative set collection dice game for 2 to 6 players that plays in 30 to 45 minutes. The game is played over an 8-round shift, and players win by getting through the 8 rounds without accruing more than 8 failures. They can also lose the game if they let the call queue overfill. Players are going to control 5 different kinds of dice, each one representing a real-world type of emergency equipment. So there's red dice for ambulances that provide first aid, black dice for rescue squads that rescue people, orange dice for fire trucks that put out fires, blue dice for water tankers that drop off water, and green dice for ladder trucks. Dice are going to move around the city following the white roads and the yellow highway, which allows you to zoom from one side of the map to the other a lot faster. On a turn, players have 3 available actions that they can perform. They can move 1 piece of emergency equipment, that's 1 dice, up to 3 spaces following the white roads. So for example, 1, 2, 3. Or they can do that same action but use the highway to get around faster. For example, 1, 2, 3. The second action that they can perform is they can dispatch a call. And what that does is you move an emergency tile from the call queue at the bottom and place it on the map in its location. The third action that they can do is they can attempt to lock in a symbol. So if they have a piece of emergency equipment on that emergency, they can attempt to roll the dice, and if they get the matching symbol, they can place a lock-in tile on there, which allows them to save that for the resolution phase. After every player has taken their actions, play proceeds to the resolution phase. In this phase of the game, we attempt to resolve all of the emergency tiles that have emergency equipment dice at their location. For this example, we have the high-rise building, and in the previous action example, we locked in one of the 2 fire symbols needed to resolve that emergency. In the resolution phase, we roll the dice, and look at that. We've got the extra fire symbol, the extra ladder symbol, and the first aid symbol that we need to resolve this emergency. So this emergency is successfully resolved. It's removed from the board, and players draw a resolution card. Resolution cards are 2-sided. When you succeed, you earn a symbol, and sets of cards can be traded in to automatically gain that symbol for future emergencies. Conversely, if players failure to resolve an emergency before it rotates past the 1 spot on its countdown timer, they fail the emergency and they draw a failure card. The first thing a failure card has you do is move the failure track counter 1 space to the right. If you get 8 failures, you lose the game. Each card also does something that will hinder you on subsequent turns. So for example, this card has you discard 1 successful resolution card. So when we successfully resolve this one, we got the success side of the card. When you fail it, you get the negative side. In this case, we would lose 1 success card that we already have in our community card pool. Some other things that can happen are out-of-service cards, which remove a die from the game for 1 turn, or dispatch system overload, which blocks out one of the call queue spaces at the bottom. If the call queue is ever full when you have to draw another tile, you also lose the game. After resolving all of the emergency tiles, we rotate all of the tiles that remain on the game board to count them down. So for example, this one has 2 rounds left to resolve, this one has 1. We advance the shift token 1 space over. Again, if you advance off the end, you've survived your shift, hey, you win the game. And then we add call tiles, 1 for every player up to 4, to the call queue. This is how new calls come into the game. So that's a brief overview on how to play Emergency Dispatch. For more information about the game, you can read the rule book. It's rather short. I do want to point out a couple neat things about this game. First of all, the layout of the city map and the distribution of the tiles for the emergencies makes it very replayable and very strategic and challenging. The other thing that's really cool about this game is that because you're rolling dice and there's a little bit of uncertainty in the dice rolls, there's multiple right actions that you can take on your turn, and it really helps to cut down on that alpha player thing that can happen in co-op games. Players really have multiple right best choices that they can take, and you're not going to win them all. So that's a cool facet of this game that people really seem to like and flock to. Again, my name is Jon Fromm, and I'd like to thank you Cardboard Edison judges for taking the time to look over my game, Emergency Dispatch.